I'm getting a woman in spirit. I'm getting her very, very strong. And this was a woman that was not clumsy with her boot, but she rather danced. She rather, almost in her walk, you could tell that she had this little gait that was specific to her. May not have been a dance, but it was a specific gait that she had. It also feels like that was part of her personality, that she was amazingly always in good humor. It just felt like you could be around her and she was just in good humor and it would cheer up. It feels to me as if this woman was a taskmaster. It feels to me as if she kept the people in her world on task, that she had a plan, or if you dared help her know your plan, that you specifically would have to stay on that plan, that she was a plan your work and work your plan person, that she was very specific in that. I get the impression also that she just loved whatever she did. I'm seeing her shuffling papers. And you know what, it doesn't feel like she was, it doesn't feel to me as if she was a bookkeeper or any of those. In fact, just now when she did that, she made me make a bad face. She made me kind of put that behind her. She didn't want any part of that paper stuff. But it feels more like it was paper with her hands. It feels like it was knowledge she could gain, so she would have done books. It feels like also she was somebody that would have written letters. And I'd be surprised if you didn't have a letter from her or in your family.
No, I almost want to contradict that a little bit. And what she's showing me is almost like she did, I'm almost feeling like this woman was an accountant or something. She did something that was specific, that was not only family related, but she did something outside the home. And it feels like she managed something, or she was the manager of the household. There was naturally other family members, but when you came to her, it kind of reminds me, like if you've seen some of the old movies where you see the man that's behind the screen and the window, and he has the little green hat on, you know, and he kind of manages things. You come to him when you want money changing or something like that. But this is the way she feels to me. She feels like she is in control, very much in control of her surroundings and her family. It's kind of like nothing was done without her say-so. And it wasn't as though she was demanding, it was though it was respect. It was like a respect for her capabilities, her management of things, and she kind of commanded respect. It was just who she was. And I don't mean that in a way that it was, she bragged about it or anything like that. It was just who she was.
It was her presence. And I get the impression, okay, we did have a little contradiction there, and as David was talking, it felt to me as if she had something to do with the Postal Service. I saw her also behind that counter. But it was this stationery and this stuff that she was all in charge of, but it didn't have anything to do with being an accountant. I still cringed almost when that happened. Would I be right when I tell you that? I do feel like with this gentleman, we're going to continue with this gentleman if that's all right with you, sir. It feels to me as if this position that she held might have been in a smaller location rather than a huge location. It feels like she was maybe the postmistress or whatever it was that we're trying to get to here that she was in charge of. I get the impression also that she was able to leave that and go home. Leave that and go home, and she was very good at that. She's wanted me to almost brag about that. She's wanted me to tell you that she was able to go home and be a family and take care of her family, and that she was sort of the same person in both places as far as being the taskmaster that I talked about in the beginning, but that she would certainly be able to leave whatever she was doing and go home and do that with her family. I'm getting number three as if it's very important to her. It feels like this may have been her children that we're talking about. It feels to me though like she's labeling those three. If I'm mistaken about the number of children that she had, I would guess that she had more than three rather than less than three, because she's singling out those three. What that would mean to me is that she may have had 3 boys, she may have had 3 girls, but or that 3 would have been set apart for some reason. She's identifying those 3.
The 3 feels like something to me too, but I don't feel like it is the word 3. I feel that it's a word that sounds like 3. And I think that she's trying to use this terminology. I get like, and again, this may be someone in the family surrounding her, I'm getting an unusual name like Theta, or it's a TH name, it's not a common name for today. Does that make sense?
Theresa.
I also, with her, we've talked about some serious things and some responsibility and things like that, but there's something else about her personality that feels to me, it almost feels like I want to kind of chuckle. There's something fun about her, something unusually fun about her personality, that she could make light of things. I feel like it wasn't like a making fun of, but it was a making light of situations that may have been tough situations, that she was able to overcome them with a bit of lightheartedness or a light approach to things. Kind of like calming the storm, it feels like to me. Like she would, an issue would arise and she could just kind of wave her hand. It felt like it just calmed the storm around her.
That was just her nature. That wasn't something, though, that really wasn't something that she had to work at. That was just part of more her belief system. It feels to me, as she crossed over, that there were a lot of people that were talking about the wisdom of this woman and about her belief system and how that could carry on from her. I get the impression that she knew that she was a wise woman and that people would surround her for her wisdom. I get the impression also that she was a woman that absolutely surrounded herself with joy, and she almost refused to be surrounded by anything else. She needed that for her lifeblood. Also just got the impression there was a young child just before she crossed over, that there was a young child that came into her world. And I'm being given the word great, so I don't know if she lived that long, but that's what I'm
Making me, I want to speak and say, she's saying, I'm taking the train home.